Good afternoon, Puja, and wish you all the best.
Good afternoon, Shada ma'am. Thank you.
Good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon, sir. We are starting, sir. Okay.
Okay. Start.
Okay. Puja, ma'am, start now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Am I audible to you?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, sir, and every teachers. So let us start the presentation.
Good afternoon, Puja. Let's start.
Okay, sir. I hope the screen is visible to you.
Yes.
ma'am. Yes.
Okay. So the topic of my today's session is protection of child rights. There can be no keener revelation of a society's soul than the way in which it treats its children. This quote is given by Nelson Mandela, the first South African president. So we will understand what is protection of child right by knowing who is a child. According to United Nations, anyone who is below the age of 18 years is a child. But in Indian context, there are different age limits set up by different act. For example, Child Labor Protection and Regulation Act of 1986 had set up 14 years as the upper age limit of the child. Similarly, Mines Act 18 years, Factories Act 14 years, Right to Education 14 years, Juvenile Justice and Protection of Children 18 years. Let us understand what are rights. Rights are legal, social, or ethical principles of freedom or entitlement. That is, rights are the fundamental normative rules what is allowed of people or owed to people according to some legal system, social convention, or ethical theory. Right is very necessary for leading a life of respect and dignity. Rights are important as they help individuals to develop their capacity to reason, to develop their skill, and enable them to make informed choices in life. There are 5 categories of rights: natural rights, moral rights, contractual rights, legal rights, and human rights. We will look into one by one. First is natural right. Natural rights are not dependent on the laws, customs of any particular culture or government. For example, right to life, right to liberty, and right to property all will come under natural rights. Next is moral rights. Rights accorded under some system of ethics. It can be given by a particular religion. For example, integrity, right against false attributions. All this will come under moral rights. Next is contractual rights. Contractual right, it is related to business when parties enter into a valid contract, for example, property disputes. Next is legal rights. It is an interest accepted and protected by law of the land. For example, in India, the legal rights are like right to property, equal pay for equal work. So all these will come under legal rights, which is given to you by the law of the land. Now, human rights. So these are the human rights are the most important rights of all, because human rights are the rights which is inherent to us as a human being, regardless of race, gender, nationality, religion, or any other status. For example, freedom from slavery, torture, freedom of opinion and expression, right to life, all these will come under human rights. Now, we will understand why child right is important and why they matter. So, I will like to present put forward some data, like according to UNICEF, nearly 1 in 10 children are subjected to child labor with some sort of hazardous work through trafficking. Similarly, India recorded 350 crimes against children each day. So, it is a high time that we discuss about child right and we protect our children, because every right is necessary for every child. Children and young people have the same general human right as adults, and also specific rights that recognize their special needs. Children are neither the property of their parents nor are they helpless objects of charity. They are human beings and they are the subject of their own rights. Personality formation takes place during early childhood. Therefore, child-friendly services and nurturance are of utmost importance. During early years, they are dependent on adults and therefore they need protection and appropriate guidance. So we have seen that why child rights are important. Now we will understand some pioneer organizations who are working in forefront to protect the right of these children. The one among them is UNICEF, United Nations International Children Emergency Fund. It is a permanent part of United Nations from 1953. It mandated to protect the right of every child everywhere, especially the most disadvantaged, and is the only organization specifically named in the Convention on the Right of the Child as a source of expert assistance and advice. UNICEF works in over 190 countries and territories to save the children's life, to defend their rights, and to help them to fulfill their potential from early childhood through adolescence. It drives change for children and young people every day across the globe. It works with the partners around the world to promote policies and expand access to services that protect all children. UNICEF has helped reduce child mortality all over the world by working to reach the most vulnerable children everywhere. UNICEF works around the world to support quality learning for every girl and boy, especially those in greatest danger of being left behind. It works around the world to reduce child poverty and shield girls and boys from its lifelong consequences. UNICEF is on the ground before, during, and after emergencies, working to reach children and families with life-saving aid and long-term assistance. It works all over the world to empower girls and women to ensure their full participation in political, social, and economic system. UNICEF works with partners in every sector to co-create innovative solutions that accelerate progress for children and young people. It delivers sustainable access to life-saving supplies where they are most needed, accelerating results for the most vulnerable children. UNICEF global programs and initiatives are grounded in rigorous research and thoughtful analysis about the situation of children. The next is UN Convention on the Right of Child. The United Nations Convention on the Right of Child is a legally binding international agreement setting out the civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights of every child, regardless of their race, religion, or abilities. It consists of 54 articles that set out children's rights and how government should work together to make them available to all children. Under the terms of the convention, governments are required to meet children's basic needs and help them reach their full potential. Central to this, the acknowledgement that every child has basic fundamental rights. These include the right to life, survival and development, protection from violence, abuse or neglect, and education that enables children to fulfill their potential, be raised by or have a relationship with their parents, express their opinions and be listened to. And finally, India in 1992 ratified UNCRC and formulated many laws to give effect. Now, we will see what are the rights which are available in Constitution of India. Constitution is the supreme law of our country. It guarantees all children certain rights which have been specially included for them. Our constitution starts with preamble. So preamble is an introductory statement of our constitution. It sets out the guiding purpose, principles and philosophy of our constitution. The objectives stated by the preamble are to secure justice, liberty, equality to all citizens and promote fraternity to maintain unity and integrity of the nation. As you can see, the bold letters which are given in the preamble, they express that justice, liberty, equality and fraternity should be given to every citizen of India, including children also. Now, our constitution consists of fundamental rights, directive principles of state policy, and fundamental duties. Fundamental rights are the basic human rights which is given to all the citizens and are enforceable by courts. It is subject to specific restrictions. Directive principles of state policy, it is in part 4 of our constitution, and they are the guideline for framing of law by the government and not enforceable by the court, but the principle on which they are based are fundamental guidelines for governance that state is expected to apply in framing and passing the laws. Fundamental duties are given in part 4A, and these are the moral obligations of all the citizens to help promote a spirit of patriotism and to uphold the unity of India, and they are not legally enforceable. Now we will see fundamental rights in detail. So, fundamental right consists of 6 rights. First is right to equality, which is given in Article 14 to 18. Right to equality, it consists of equality before the law and equal protection of law. Then right to freedom, which is in Article 19 to 22. Then we are having third fundamental right, which is right against exploitation. It is under Article 23 and 24. Then right to freedom of religion, which is in Article 25 to 28. Then cultural and educational rights, which is under Article 29 and 30. And last, right to constitutional remedy, which is in Article 32 of the Constitution. So fundamental rights guarantees political rights to all the citizens of our country. Now, fundamental rights which are specifically available for the children. So the first is Article 21A, which is right to free and compulsory elementary education for all the children in the 6 to 14 age group. And second is Article 24, which is right to be protected from any hazardous employment till the age of 14 years. So Article 21A gives the right to free and compulsory education to every children, and Article 24 bans child labor from India. Now similarly, in DPSP, we are having 3 articles which protect the rights of children. First is Article 39E, which is right to be protected from being abused and forced by economic necessity to enter occupation unsuited to their age or strength. Then Article 39F, right to equal opportunities and facilities to develop in a healthy manner and in a condition of freedom and dignity, and guaranteed protection of childhood and youth against exploitation and against moral and material abandonment. Then Article 45, which is right to early childhood care and education to all children until they complete the age of 6 years. And last, fundamental duties. So, fundamental duties are enshrined in Article 51A of our Constitution, and in Article 51A, subclause K, it is given that it shall be the duty of every citizen of India who is a parent or guardian to provide opportunities for education to his child, or as the case may be, ward between the age of 6 and 14 years. Now, to enact these fundamental rights, fundamental duties, and directive principles of state policy, our government has formulated certain laws. So, we will see the milestones in Indian laws for the protection of children. Now, the first is Child Labor Prohibition and Regulation Act. Child labor, it deprives children of their childhood and their potential and dignity. According to 2011 census, there are 10.1 million child laborers in India. So to end the child labor, this act was enacted by our government. This act regulates the working condition for children in employment and prohibits working for children in certain kind of employment. One more commission was set up by government, and it is called as National Commission for the Protection of Child Right. It was set up in March 2007 under the Commission for Protection of Child Right 2005, an Act of Parliament. It is under the administrative control of Ministry of Women and Child Development, Government of India. The Commission mandate is to ensure that all laws, policies, programs, and administrative mechanisms are in consonance with the child right perspective as enshrined in the Constitution of India and also the UN Convention on the Right of Child. The child is defined as the person in the 0 to 18 age group. Then, right to education. Right to education guarantees free and compulsory education to all children of India in the 6 to 14 age group. No child shall be held back, expelled, or required to pass a board examination until completion of elementary education. A child who completes elementary education up to class 8 shall be awarded a certificate. It provides 25% reservation for economically disadvantaged community in admission to class 1 in all private schools. It mandates improvement in quality of education. Social infrastructure is to be improved if not done, recognition will be cancelled. And the financial burden will be shared by the state and the central government. So right to education, the law which was made in 2005, it was to implement Article 21A of the Fundamental Right. Next is the very important, which is Juvenile Justice, Care and Protection Act of 2015. The Act seeks to achieve the objective of United Nations Convention on the Right of Children as ratified by India on December 11, 1992. It specifies procedural safeguards in cases of children in conflict with law. It seeks to address challenges in the existing Act such as delay in adoption process, high pendency of cases, accountability of institutions. The Act further seeks to address children in the 6 to 18 age group in conflict with law as an increased incidence of crime committed by them has been reported over the past few years. Change in the nomenclature from juvenile to child or child in conflict with law across the Act to remove the negative connotations associated with the word juvenile. The next very important act is POSCO Act, which was passed in 2012. It is a comprehensive law to provide protection of children from the offense of sexual assault, pornography, and sexual harassment. The Act defines various forms of sexual abuse, which includes penetrative as well as non-penetrative assault. The Act safeguards the interest of a child below 18 years of age by incorporating child-friendly mechanism for reporting and recording of evidence. The objective of POSCO Act is to protect the children below 18 years from sexual harassment, safeguarding the interest of child at various stages like reporting, recording of evidence, investigation, and trial of offense, providing relief and rehabilitation as soon as a complaint is lodged with the Special Juvenile Police Unit. It stipulates code for the speedy disposal of sexual cases. Now, we will see what steps to be taken to protect the right of children. As a government, there are some steps to be taken by government to protect the child. The first is amend existing laws and enact new laws to have a uniform definition of child. As we have seen in the first or second slide, that there is a different age limit for different acts. Second is to create infrastructure and train the required human resources to implement the National Plan of Action for Children of the Government of India. Third is to make adequate budgetary provisions to fulfill its commitment to children. Like the recent budget which was passed on 1st of Feb, rupees 25,170 crore was given to Women and Child Development Ministry, which was just a rise of 3%. So we need to spend more for the protection and development of child. And the fourth is to disseminate the information about child right to all the stakeholders by using the government machinery. Children are our nation's most precious resource, but as children, they often lack the skill to protect themselves. It is our responsibility as a parent and responsible citizen to safeguard children and to teach them the skill to be safe. There are some steps to be taken by the parents to protect and develop child. First is every home and school should teach children about safety and protection measures. As parent, you should take an active interest in your children and listen to them. Teach your children that they can be assertive in order to protect themselves against abduction and exploitation. And most importantly, make your home a place of trust and support that fulfill your child needs. Together, we can protect our future generation by teaching them to be smart, strong, and safe. Now, what steps we can take as a teachers? Now I would like teachers to answer this question, that what steps you would take to protect the children, or what steps you would take when you will find some child to be very uncomfortable in the classroom. Yes, anyone? Am I audible to you? I would like the teachers to please answer this question, that what steps you would take when you see any child in your classroom to be very uncomfortable or very shy, not answering the question. How would you recognize any victim who are the victim of violence or maybe abuse, exploitation that happens in their house maybe? I'm waiting for your answers. Teachers, please. Facial expression. Okay, Sujata ma'am. And then I would definitely ask him about his personal issues, even if he or she hesitate. Okay. So, yes, so we can ask them what is the issue. There should be a counselor in our school, maybe if we recognize any student who is facing any issue in the classroom, and we know that, we can guess them, so we can send them, they can talk to these counselors, they can ask them their problems, they can discuss it, okay? So, children can be subjected to neglect, abuse, violence, and exploitation anywhere. There is some abuse that may happen inside the school premises, while a lot of it is what children suffer at home and in non-school environment. A child in your class may be a victim of violence, abuse, exploitation that happens outside the school. You cannot ignore it. Rather, you must help the children. This too is possible only if you are able to identify that there is a problem and you spend time to understand it and explore possible solutions. Always remember that your duty to protect children does not come to an end once you are out of the school premises. The life of a child who is out of the school system can be changed with your positive intervention. You just have to prepare yourself for it and know more about their problems as well as what you can do to help. Once you are mentally prepared and equipped to tackle the problem, you will be able to do many things and you have never dreamt you are capable of doing. Now, can you identify these two personalities? Anyone? These two personalities have done exemplary work for the protection of child rights. So, yes, so the first picture is of Malala Yousafzai and the second picture is of Kailash Satyarthi. So Malala Yousafzai is a Pakistani activist and she fought for female education. She defied the Taliban in Pakistan and demanded that girls to be allowed to receive an education. So how one girl stood up for the education and changed the world. Now the second is Kailash Satyarthi. He is an Indian social reformer who campaigned against child labor in India and advocated the universal right. Yes. Kamlesh sir, can you mute yourself? Yes, am I audible to everyone?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I was talking about Malala Yousafzai and Kailash Satyarthi. So Kailash Satyarthi is an Indian social reformer who campaigned against child labor in India and advocated the universal right to education. And he is in forefront of the global movement to to end child slavery and exploitation. So these two personalities from India and Pakistan have done a very exemplary work to protect the right of children. Even Kailash Satyarthi, he started an organization called as Bachpan Bachao Andolan, and they are very actively working to protect the right of children. They are going to very deprived places and they are fighting for the child right. And Nobel Peace Prize of 2014 was awarded jointly to Kailash Satyarthi and Malala Yousafzai for their struggle against the suppression of children and young people and for the right of all children to education. So there are a lot of people, a lot of personalities who are working for the development of child, for the protection of child rights. There are many organizations also, NGOs also, like one NGO is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They are providing fund to the government, to the, some of the houses also, some of the villages to protect the children right. So children are innocent, trusting and full of hope. Their childhood should be joyful and loving. They are the future shoulders in the form of great philosophers, rulers, scientists, politicians, able legislators, administrators, teachers, judges, technologists, industrialists, engineers and workers on which the country would rest. So together we can make these happy faces protected, and we as a society can protect them, can develop them, and thank you. Thank you everyone for listening to me patiently.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you everyone. You can give me your valuable feedback.
Very valuable information given by the Puja. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anandita, ma'am. Thank you, Neeta, ma'am. Thank you, Vikas, sir. Thank you, Rahman, sir. Thank you, Sujata, ma'am. Thank you, Varsha, teacher.